Sometimes you just feel something. You think of someone, you pray about them. You don't chase, but they stay on your heart like a quiet echo. And yet, nothing is happening. No sign, no message, no progress, just silence. You start to wonder, did I imagine it? Is Allah telling me to move on? But listen closely. Silence is not rejection. Silence is often protection. And sometimes, silence is the space Allah creates to grow both hearts before He brings them together. Lesson 1. Allah delays to develop, not deny. When Allah makes you wait for someone, it's never to hurt you, it's to prepare you and to prepare them. Love isn't just about meeting, it's about meeting at the right time. Maybe you're learning patience. Maybe they're healing privately. Maybe both of you are being built in silence, so that when the time comes, you don't just find each other, you fit each other. Lesson 2. Waiting is a test of trust. Sometimes we ask Allah for something that feels so right in our hearts. We pray for a person. We feel connected to them in a way we can't explain, and so we wait. But the waiting gets long. Days pass, weeks pass. Nothing changes. There's no sign, no progress, no answer, just silence. And in that silence, Shaitan begins to whisper, maybe Allah doesn't want this for you. Maybe your dua doesn't matter. Maybe you're wasting your time. But here's the truth. The silence is not a punishment. It's a test to see. Will you stay patient when your heart is restless? Will you keep praying even when nothing is moving? Will you trust that Allah's plan is better than your own? You see, waiting is not just about time, it's about trust. And trust is one of the deepest forms of worship. When you pray and don't see anything yet, but still say, Ya Allah, I believe in your wisdom, that's trust. When your emotions want to chase someone, but you step back and say, Ya Allah, if they are good for me, bring them to me the right way. That's trust. Allah is not just looking at your dua. He is looking at your patience after the dua. Look at the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even he, the most beloved to Allah, had to wait. He, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, waited for revelation. He waited for guidance. He waited for victories. And during those moments when others doubted, he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, remained firm, because he knew something powerful. When Allah is silent, He is still speaking, just in a different way. The same is true for you. Allah is not ignoring you. He is watching you. He is shaping your heart. He is building something in you that only silence can teach. Maybe Allah is teaching you how to love without attachment, how to care without chasing, how to hope without forcing. Every moment you resist the urge to act on impulse, every time you let go of control and turn to dua, you are proving to Allah that you don't just want a person, you want a person with His blessing. And Allah never overlooks that kind of obedience. So if you are waiting now, know that you are not being forgotten. You are being watched with mercy. You are being tested, not to break you, but to see how much you trust the one who knows the unseen. And when your heart chooses trust again and again, even in the quiet, that's when your story starts to unfold, not on your terms, but on Allah's perfect timing. And that is always worth the wait. Lesson 3. Not all delays are empty. It's easy to feel like nothing is happening when your prayers seem unanswered. You look around and see people falling in love, getting married, finding their person. And you wonder, why not me? Why is mine taking so long? But what if I told you, Allah's delay is not empty. It's full of protection, full of wisdom, full of unseen mercy. You see, there are things Allah sees that you do not. He sees the intentions behind smiles. He sees the future behind feelings. He sees what people show and what they hide. So when Allah makes you wait, He might not be delaying the blessing. He might be blocking the harm. Maybe that person you liked had a beautiful face, but they were not going to protect your soul. Maybe they were charming in public, but careless in private. Maybe they would have led you away from Allah and not toward Him. Allah knows who would make your heart grow in deen and who would quietly damage your dignity. What feels like rejection might actually be a rescue. Sometimes you ask Allah for someone, but that person was never meant to stay. They were a test, not a partner. They were a reminder, not your forever. The pain of delay often blinds us, but Allah sees the heartbreak He just saved you from. And while you're crying over what didn't happen, the angels are writing down the moment you chose faith over frustration. And remember this: every delay is not a closed door. It could be a divine detour, taking you away from what looked right, but would have broken you later. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us through his life that Allah never withholds without reason. Even when the Muslims were blocked from entering Mecca, even when they faced hardships, there was always wisdom, always protection behind the scenes. Your story is no different. Every not yet from Allah has purpose. So next time you feel like nothing is happening, pause and remind your heart, just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's empty. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean Allah isn't moving things for you. He's working in the unseen. He's protecting you from what your eyes can't detect. And when it's time, when your heart is ready and the path is safe, Allah will open the door so clearly, so beautifully, that you will look back and say, Alhamdulillah for every delay. I didn't see it then, but I'm so glad He didn't give me what I wanted too soon. Because in Islam, delay is not abandonment. It's love disguised as silence. Lesson 4. The right one will not rush you. When someone is truly written for you by Allah, you won't have to chase them. You won't feel confused, anxious, or unsettled. There will be peace in their presence. Not pressure, not fear, not a rush. Sometimes we meet people who feel exciting at first. Fast replies, big promises, intense emotions. But fast doesn't always mean right. And attention doesn't always mean intention. True connection, the kind that lasts, is not rushed. It doesn't happen in a moment. It's built with patience, trust, and sincerity. The right person, the one Allah has chosen for your heart, will not rush your process. They will respect your journey. They will honor your values. They will see your modesty, your boundaries, your faith. And instead of testing them, they will protect them. Real love doesn't try to break walls that Allah helped you build. It guards them. It doesn't make you question your worth. It reminds you of it. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that a woman is married for 4 things: her wealth, her beauty, her lineage, and her religion. Then he ﷺ advised, choose the one who has religion and you will succeed. This hadith doesn't just speak to men. It speaks to every believer, because the right person is not the one who wants to enjoy your company without commitment, but the one who fears Allah in the way they approach you. They won't ask you to lower your standards. They won't push you to compromise your faith. They will come with clarity, not confusion, with intention, not games, with respect, not pressure, and most importantly, they will want you with Allah, not away from Him. Sometimes people come into our lives like a storm, loud, intense, full of energy, but they leave just as quickly. But the ones sent by Allah come quietly, with barakah, with ease, with sincerity. They don't rush you, because they trust Allah's timing too. If someone is pressuring you to hurry, to rush decisions, to skip prayer, to bend your values, pause and ask yourself, is this from Allah? Because anything Allah blesses will never pull you away from Him. The right one will wait for you, pray for you, grow with you. You won't have to beg for their respect. You won't have to wonder where you stand. Their actions will match their words, and their presence will bring you closer to peace. Not just emotional peace, but spiritual peace too. When Allah writes love into your life, it doesn't come with pressure. It comes with purpose. It doesn't feel rushed. It feels right. And that kind of love, slow, steady, respectful, and rooted in faith, is always worth the wait. Lesson 5. You are becoming, not just waiting. Many people think that waiting means doing nothing, that it's wasted time, that your life is on pause until someone finally shows up. But that's not true at all. In Islam, waiting is not passive. It's powerful. It's a time when your heart is being shaped, your mind is being strengthened, your soul is being trained to trust. You're not just sitting there, you're becoming. Every single day you wake up and say, Ya Allah, I will stay patient. You are building your faith. Every time you walk away from someone who tempts your heart but doesn't respect your values, you are protecting your soul. Every dua you make, even with a tired voice and a heavy heart, is being recorded. Every tear you cry in secret, Allah sees it. None of it is wasted. You may feel like nothing is happening on the outside, but so much is happening within you. You are learning to love without attachment, to hope without expectation, to trust without needing to see the full picture. That's growth, and it's the kind of growth that only comes in stillness, in that quiet, uncomfortable space between praying and receiving. Look at the story of Yusuf, alayhi salam. He spent years in prison, alone, forgotten by people, but not by Allah. During those years, Allah was preparing him, not just to survive, but to rise, not just to be free, but to lead. You might feel like you're stuck in your own waiting room, but maybe Allah is building something in you that needs time. Maybe you're learning the strength of emotional self-control. Maybe you're healing wounds from the past that you didn't even know were still bleeding. And maybe the person Allah has written for you is also on their own journey, trying, failing, growing, praying, just like you. So that when you finally meet, you don't meet as broken people hoping to be fixed. You meet as healed people, ready to give from a place of wholeness. When you use your waiting season to become more faithful, more focused, more confident in who you are with Allah. You prepare your heart for a love that doesn't distract you, but a love that magnifies your purpose. You see, anyone can fall in love, but not everyone can hold love with dignity. Not everyone can love with sincerity and responsibility. That's why Allah makes you wait. Because He's not preparing you for just any love. He's preparing you for the right kind of love. A love that honors your soul, protects your deen, and supports your akhirah. So don't underestimate the season you're in. Don't think you're being overlooked just because no one is holding your hand. Allah is holding your heart. He's shaping it, softening it, strengthening it, so that when the one He wrote for you arrives, you don't have to fix yourself. You simply have to recognize what you already became, and on that day, you'll understand the waiting was never a pause. It was preparation. It was the season where you became someone worthy of the love you prayed for, and someone capable of giving that love the right way, with peace, with faith, and with purpose. Lesson 6. Allah sees what you don't. There are moments when you're waiting, praying, holding on, but it feels like you're being ignored. You whisper to Allah in the late hours of the night. You beg with sincerity. You cry until your heart aches, but the situation doesn't change. And silence stretches longer than you ever expected. You look around and see others finding love, getting married, being chosen. And something inside you breaks. You wonder, why not me? Why do my prayers feel unanswered while others are receiving theirs? Is there something wrong with me? But here is what your heart needs to remember. Just because Allah is silent doesn't mean He isn't working. Just because you can't see anything changing doesn't mean nothing is being prepared. Allah sees everything you don't. He sees the truth behind smiles, the reality behind promises, and the future behind feelings. Where your eyes stop, His wisdom continues. You may want someone because of how they make you feel now, But Allah looks ahead and sees how they might make you feel 5 years from now. You see the outside, their kindness, their charm, their looks. But Allah sees the inside, their sincerity, their faith, their intentions. What you thought was love might have turned into a test. What you begged to keep might have become a burden. And what you believed was right might have silently led you away from Allah. So when Allah says wait, or when He removes someone you wanted, it's not because He wants to hurt you. It's because He sees something you don't. He sees the heartbreak you're being saved from. He sees the conversations they'll have behind your back. He sees the moments they'll stop praying while you're trying to hold on to your deen. He sees the emotional loneliness you would have faced in a relationship that looked good on the outside but was empty on the inside. And most of all, He sees the version of you that you haven't grown into yet. Stronger, wiser, more faithful. A version that wouldn't settle just for comfort, but one that seeks alignment with Allah's plan. Sometimes the delay is not about the other person. Sometimes the delay is about your own protection. Sometimes Allah is building you. Other times, He's shielding you. And often, He's doing both at once. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "You may love a thing that is bad for you, and you may dislike a thing that is good for you. Allah knows and you do not know." This isn't just a reminder, it's a shield. It's what you hold on to when your feelings start to argue with your faith. You're not being forgotten, you're being guarded, not just from heartbreak, but from misguidance, distraction, and spiritual loss. Think about this. How many people rushed into something because they didn't trust the wait, and ended up crying in sujood, asking Allah to rescue them from the very person they once begged for? But you are waiting, you are trusting. You are walking away from what feels tempting because you want what is blessed, not just what is beautiful. And Allah sees that. He sees every time you lowered your gaze, every time you deleted a message you wanted to send. Every time you said, "Ya Allah, protect me from what is not written for me." And every time you chose silence over begging, dignity over chasing, patience over panic. None of this goes unnoticed. Sometimes the longer the wait, the deeper the protection. Maybe someone came into your life already, but their heart wasn't ready. Maybe they liked your presence, but weren't ready to protect your future. Maybe Allah had to pull them away because you were too close to choosing someone who couldn't carry your trust with taqwa. So instead of seeing the delay as rejection, see it as divine vision. Because Allah is not just preparing someone for you. He's removing people who were never meant to stay. And when the right one comes, at the time Allah chooses, you won't have to fight to feel loved. You won't have to explain why you want to pray. You won't have to sacrifice your boundaries just to be accepted. They will come with ease. They will come with clarity. They will come with respect for your faith, not resistance to it. That is what Allah is protecting you for. That is what He is filtering others out to give you. So yes, waiting is hard. Yes, it feels long. But when you trust that Allah sees more than you ever could, your waiting becomes lighter, because you know you are not just being delayed. You are being divinely directed. One day, when it all makes sense, you'll look back and say, "Now I understand what Allah was doing. He wasn't being silent, He was being merciful." And that realization will be more beautiful than anything you once begged for. Lesson 7. Real love begins with Allah. Many people spend their lives searching for someone to love, someone to talk to, someone to grow with, someone who will see them, choose them, and stay. But what we often forget is this. Before love between two people can truly succeed, there must be love between the heart and Allah. When your heart feels empty, when loneliness begins to ache, your first instinct may be to look outward, to want someone else to come and fill that space. But the truth is, no human can fill the space that was created for Allah. You can marry someone kind, you can marry someone beautiful, but if your heart is disconnected from its creator, you will always feel something missing. Because the heart is not made whole by people. It is made whole by faith. Allah wants your love life to succeed, but He wants something even more first. He wants your soul to succeed. He wants your relationship with Him to be strong before your relationship with another person begins. Why? Because a heart that loves Allah, a heart that puts Him first, becomes wise, it becomes patient, it becomes protected. You begin to see clearly. You don't fall for looks without character. You don't chase attention without intention. You don't beg for love that makes you compromise your deen. You learn how to wait. You learn how to walk away from what's not right. You learn how to love with honor, not desperation. And most importantly, you begin to see love not as something you chase, but something Allah brings when the time, the person, and the path are all aligned. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed us this balance. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam loved deeply, but his love was always guided by his connection to Allah. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam was romantic, respectful, patient, and emotionally intelligent, but never disconnected from his faith. Because he knew true love doesn't take you away from Allah, it brings you closer to Him. When Allah is your first love, you start asking different questions. Instead of, do they like me? You ask, do they bring me peace in my deen? Instead of, do they make me feel good right now? You ask, will they help me grow in the long run? Instead of, how fast can this happen? You ask, is this being done in a way that pleases Allah? This is the shift that changes everything. And maybe that's why Allah is making you wait. Not to frustrate you, but to teach you a love that begins in submission, not just emotion. A love that honors your heart and your hereafter. A love that doesn't distract you from prayer, but kneels next to you in prayer. Yes, companionship is beautiful. But it becomes truly meaningful when it's guided by faith, because one day beauty will fade, one day feelings may rise and fall, but what remains is iman, character, and shared purpose. You're not just waiting for a person, you're waiting for a partner in faith, someone who will see your flaws and cover them, someone who will stand beside you in this life and walk with you toward Jannah in the next. But you can't attract that kind of person without becoming that kind of soul first. So during this waiting period, don't just count the days. Use the days to build yourself. Pray, reflect, read Quran, strengthen your identity, heal your heart from past wounds, reconnect with Allah until He becomes your anchor, until He becomes your peace. Because when Allah is your peace, no human can become your destruction. And then, when the time is right, when your heart is ready, when the path is clear, Allah will send someone who doesn't complete you, because only He can do that, but someone who will complement you, someone whose love feels calm, respectful, and safe, someone who doesn't just hold your hand, but holds your dua, your struggles, your dreams, and your deen with care. And when that person enters your life, you'll look at them with gratitude and say, Ya Allah, this is what you were preparing me for all along. Because real love begins with Him, and anything that begins with Allah will never end in loss. So trust the process. Fall in love with your Creator first, and let Him decide when to write the next chapter. Not just for your heart, but for your akhirah too. That kind of love is always worth the wait. So if you're waiting right now, and your heart feels tired, and your soul wonders when the longing will end, please know this: you are not behind. You are not being forgotten. You are not being punished. You are being refined. You are in a sacred process, a private conversation between you and Allah, a story being written in the unseen, one page at a time. If Allah has placed someone in your heart, gently, quietly, without obsession or chasing, and instead of stress, it brings you peace, then believe with full certainty. That is not a mistake. It's not an illusion. It's a sign. It means something is happening behind the scenes, something you can't see, but something Allah is shaping with His perfect knowledge. Maybe that person is coming. Maybe they're making sincere dua for you right now. Maybe they're healing from old pain, learning how to pray, building a relationship with Allah, just like you are. Maybe they're also learning not to rush, not to settle, not to choose out of loneliness, but out of love that is rooted in Allah. And maybe this period of waiting is the very thing that's making both your hearts mature, making your intentions pure, making your character ready to carry the weight of real love, love that lasts, love that brings you closer to Jannah, not just each other. Because true love isn't just about finding someone, it's about becoming someone. Someone who knows how to give love with gentleness, how to protect love with patience, how to carry love with faith. So while you wait, remember, you are not just being delayed, you are being divinely developed. And one day, when it finally comes together, with ease, with peace, with clarity, you'll look back at this season and say, now I understand the wait. It wasn't a rejection, it was preparation. It wasn't silence, it was mercy. It wasn't a delay, it was a design. Because Allah never makes you wait to break your heart. He makes you wait to protect it, to purify it, and to connect it with the one who was written for you. Not just to love in this world, but to walk beside you toward the next. That kind of love is always worth every second of the wait.